Hello, welcome back to another Generation Gap Reacts video. We are listening to a Patreon poll winning song, pretty much by a landslide, is Don McLean's American Pie. And so what we do on Patreon is we just take recommendations, song recommendations in the comments from our subscribers, and in no particular order, we put 5 of them on Patreon for a poll, and the top 2 songs with the most votes get included into our reaction video lineup. So if you want to be part of that and have a little bit of control on what songs that we react to, please be sure to go over to our Patreon. And this one is a winner. So we're doing that today. We have both heard this song, so it's not a first time hearing. And we have been getting some comments that I want to address very quickly that says, oh, if you've both heard this song, then that defeats the purpose of a reaction video. And we just say there are no rules, and it's our channel and we can include whatever song we want. And the reason why we include some songs that we've both heard before is because they are requested by you. And our subscribers are the reason why our channel is still going. We appreciate our subscribers so much. And if this is the song that you guys want to see, whether we've heard the song or not, then that's the song that we're going to do.
And I'll tell you, it is very difficult not to have heard a song when we specialize in 60s, 70s, 80s. How can you not have heard one of those songs?
Well, and then a song that both of us have also not heard together is kind of hard to find. We'll have ideas and then I'll say, Mom, do you want to do this song, this song? And she's like, I've heard it, I've heard it, I've heard it, I've heard it. Because she has her song list, I have mine, and then we kind of put our heads together and pick songs. We also have our Patreon polls where we ask you guys to help us narrow down on some songs. And so sometimes it's just kind of difficult to pick a song that either one of us hasn't heard before or we both haven't heard before. But regardless, we'd like to throw in some other gems for you. In the video, I like to do lyric analysis. Mom likes to talk about memories, feelings associated with those songs. She's very like feely, I'm very analytical. And this is just an incredible song to be analytical about. Man, I've been talking on for like 10 minutes it seems, so I'm very sorry.
And I like the overall look. I analyze the overall look.
Oh, you were talking about the music videos.
You know, how the singer looks, how the stage or the background, and just the whole feeling.
Or maybe you guys just like our personalities and like to hear us talk on and on and on about music subjects and songs. So who knows? But thank you so much for watching. And this is a great one to do lyric analysis on. So I'm really excited to get started with this. And are you ready?
Yes, I am. And I just want to say, even though, of course, I've heard this song many times, it's been in movies before, I never analyzed the lyrics. It always just seemed like a good old American song.
Are you telling me you don't really know all the little messages and purposes behind the song?
No, because I guess I was a dumb teenager or
Oh, I'm so excited then. I'm so excited because I'll be teaching you some things about the song then.
Well, good. Like I mentioned, I always thought it was just Bye Bye American Pie.
It's an America reference. Anyways, let's get started on the song, and then I'll be pausing it a lot to share lyric analysis and to explain things to you because there are so many references to musicians, songs, things of that nature in this video. It's such a well-written, genius song. So here we go.
I just want to say I learned so much from you, my daughter.
I know. Okay, here we go finally. Thanks for watching.
Finally.
Thanks for listening to us ramble on. Okay, here we go.
A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And I knew if I had my chance that I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. But February made me shiver with every paper I deliver. Bad news on the doorstep, I couldn't take one more step. I can't remember if I cried when I read about his widowed bride, but something touched me deep inside the day the music.
I'm starting to feel what the song is about. I have a feeling.
Well, say it.
Well, I'm embarrassed to say it if I'm wrong.
But I'll tell you.
Is it about the Vietnam War?
This is opening up the song, kind of explaining what the song is about from Don McLean's perspective. He was a paper boy when he was a teenager.
I got that part.
And so he's delivering the newspapers, and it was a headline of a plane accident that killed 3 prominent singers of that time. The number one, and what this song is about, is Buddy Holly. And there was also the Big Bopper, and I feel so bad now, foot in my mouth, I forgot the third person's name. Very young, just starting out artist. But the 3 of them died in a plane accident, and so he remembers himself as a kid delivering newspapers and seeing that the plane crash killed Buddy Holly, and so that's the day the music died. So this whole song is kind of about Buddy, and also lots of other music artists and groups that are just little sprinklings of Easter eggs in this entire song, which makes it so genius.
I can see that now.
Bride, but something touched me deep inside the day the music died. So bye-bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. Did you write the book of love, and do you have faith in God above? If the Bible tells you so. Now, do you believe in rock and roll? Can music save your mortal soul? And can you teach me how to dance real slow? Well, I know that you're in love with him, 'cause I saw you dancing in the gym. You both kicked off your shoes. Man, I dig those rhythm and blues. I was a lonely teenage bronc and buck with a pink carnation and a pickup truck, but I knew I was out of luck the day the music died. I started singing bye-bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye and singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die.
Okay, so I love the chorus. Chorus has, so Don McLean has never actually said explained exactly what everything means, but there's been a lot of interpretation over the years, and people have their own interpretations too. And so drove the Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Drove his, Chevy car to a levee, but there was no water.
The levee was dry.
Yeah, it was dry, and the good old boys drinking whiskey and rye. And so basically, bye-bye, Miss American Pie. It's from his perspective of like kind of the downhill trajectory that he saw America was going in, the like loss of innocence and things like that, all kind of sparked from the death of Buddy Holly. So the day that the music died is the reference to, the plane crash that killed him. So just really, I'm going to say it again, well-written, genius song.
Fantastic. The music is wonderful too.
I mean, and well, of course, we're gonna have to talk about his voice and just the beat of the song. I mean, it's so catchy, it's so iconic, and his voice is just perfect for this song.
Now for 10 years we've been on our own, and moss grows fat on a rolling stone, but that's not how it used to from you and me. Oh, and while the king was looking down, the jester stole his thorny crown. The courtroom was adjourned, no verdict was returned. And while Lenin read a book on Marx, the quartet practiced in the park, and we sang dirges in the dark. The day the music died, we were singing bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, and singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die.
So that whole last verse, there were so many artists that were referenced in there. The moss grows fat on a rolling stone, the reference to the Rolling Stones. Bob Dylan, there was a reference to that. From a quote he borrowed from James Dean. And I'm pretty sure that the king, the jester stole his thorny crown, that's referencing to, I believe, Elvis. And then there was the quartet, that's the Beatles. So, you know, the reference to Lenin reading the book of Marx. So, yeah, there's a lot of references to artists and singers throughout this entire song.
I never knew that.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
Yeah.
That's what makes the song so fun, is trying to pick up on all of these little Easter eggs that he left in the lyrics. I'm trying to pick up on those. So see if you can actually try to find when, you know, he references things, see if you can try to pick up on all those little, you know, the little things, the little hidden gems he has in there.
You've always been very analytical.
I know. I need to start my own channel with lyric analysis for these types of songs.
You should.
Because I could go into a lot more detail, but this song is going to be like a 45-minute video. So I'm trying to actually restrain myself from explaining every single line. But yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Helter-skelter in the summer swelter, the birds flew off with a fallout shelter. 8 miles high and falling fast. It landed foul on the grass. The players tried for a forward pass, with the jester on the sidelines in a cast. Now the halftime air was sweet perfume, while the sergeants played a marching tune. We all got up to dance, oh, but we never got the chance, 'cause the players tried to take the field. The marching band refused to yield. Do you recall what was revealed the day the music died? We started singing bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, and singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die.
So that verse got a lot darker than the verse before. And not every single thing. There was a lot of references to like football players and that kind of thing. And I'm not sure about those references. Somebody will let us know. But isn't Helter Skelter, isn't that a song that is referencing Manson and his cult? Isn't that in reference to that?
I think so.
So
yeah.
that was during that time. And then, you know, when he said Sergeant, I think he's referring to the Beatles and Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. So still a lot of musical references in here. But it's like getting more dark as the verses go on, because this is Don's vision of what he sees happening in America, just getting kind of worse and worse. And yeah.
Yeah, that's very deep.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
Oh, and there we were all in one place, a generation lost in space, with no time left to start again. So come on, Jack, be nimble, Jack. As I watched him on the stage, my hands were clenched in fists of rage. No angel born in hell could break that Satan's spell. And as the flames climbed high into the night to light the sacrificial rite, I saw Satan laughing with delight the day the music died. He was singing bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die.
That verse, I think, referenced a lot to Russia and the Cold War. I think that's what
Interesting.
that whole verse
He's
was
got
kind
a lot in this song.
A lot in this song.
I met a girl who sang the blues, and I asked her for some happy news, but she just smiled and turned away. I went down to the sacred store where I'd heard the music years before, but the man there said the music wouldn't play. And in the streets the children screamed, the lovers cried and the poets dreamed, but not a word was spoken. The church bells all were broken, and the three men I admire most, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, they caught the last train for the coast the day the music died. And they were singing bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die. They were singing bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die.
Can you see like how progressively sad
Yes.
this song
It's
gets?
slowing down.
It's slowing down. It doesn't have that upbeat kind of tone to it. It's really getting kind of depressing and sad. And he was referring to Janis Joplin in the last verse, the girl that sang the blues. And I'm pretty sure the shop he was talking about where the music wouldn't play, I'm assuming that's like a record store or maybe a club that artists performed at, something like that. And the music just wouldn't play anymore, obviously, because like the decline of American culture and, you know, the passing of Buddy Holly and all that kind of combined, the Cold War, all the bad things that were happening during that time, probably, you know, the Vietnam War is happening at this time. And, you know, when he was referring to the Beatles and Lennon and, you know, their very anti-war stance, anti-Vietnam War stance. And so there's just a lot of turmoil going on during this time. And you can feel that kind of dread happening as each verse gets progressively sadder. And especially after that chorus where he really toned down the song.
Well, I always did think that this song was in reference to the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm. I think there's sprinklings of reference to that in the song, but not the full meaning of the song.
There's the one part that says that the widowed bride.
That's talking about Buddy Holly's wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always thought it was about a soldier that passed and...
Well, that's the beauty of the song, and that's the beauty of Don never explaining exactly every single, because there's so many lines in this song. I mean, every sentence that ends with a comma in his song is a completely new meaning than the next part of the sentence and the next part of the sentence. There's so many references to so many pop culture things going on during this time that it can be interpreted in any way. So I think, though, what he was trying to reference was Buddy's wife. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not mistaken, they were almost newly married, and then, her husband dies. So I think that's the widowed bride.
Well, I never got as deep into the lyrics as you have, really analyzing it and dissecting it. But in my perception of it, Bye Bye Miss American Pie. American Pie, apple pie, baseball, it's all about America. You're not thinking of another country when you're talking about American Pie and baseball. So I just assumed it was about Vietnam, and there was a lot of protests, a lot of turmoil. The country was divided, and Bye Bye Miss American Pie was about the division, about war.
It's saying bye to innocence.
Now I kind of get that, but I'm just saying,
that's what you were thinking before.
Decades ago, that's what I assumed it meant.
There were a lot of, anti-war protest songs that were coming out. So, this was probably coming out about the same time.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's definitely some references to that in there. And then, Russia, there's references to that, and the whole Cold War era. Communism, so there was a lot of references to that.
Plus the fact that I always went to school either on a military base or a military community. So all of my friends, all of them had a father. And at that time, you didn't have a father and a mother. You had a father.
In the military.
Yeah. And, a lot of these songs that would come out that we really liked, we would talk about the meaning of the song, and many times we thought it was about, the Vietnam War or the Korean War, or our fathers either being in the military, serving in the Vietnam War, or retired from the military. Every single person had a father in the military.
Well, I can understand how in that community, if you're on a base and you're living in that community, that you interpret certain songs in that way, because that's what that's what you've known. You're an Army brat. You were born on the base, lived on the base most of your childhood. So you interpret things and songs based on your life and your experiences.
Right.
So I can understand how that community would hear this song, and there's a lot of dark lyrics in this song, and you would interpret it based off of your life. And your life was living on the base, living amongst people who had dads in the Vietnam War and the Korean War.
Yes, and when I was a senior in high school, that's when my family moved away, and we moved into a community that wasn't a military community. And it was completely different the way it was. I can't explain it, because most of my childhood, it was, with similar people. We all had fathers in the military. So conversations, our lifestyle was different. And then when we moved, there weren't those kind of conversations.
Yeah, I can see that.
It was just...
I can see how it's very different.
Very different, yeah. When you go from a military community to a non-military community, how... I mean, obviously it was lots of similarities, but people didn't quite understand if you had a military father.
Yeah.
Or
there's probably a lot of cultural differences too, because I know from your stories of your military friends, all were mixed race.
It was very diverse.
Very diverse, lots of diversity, lots of Asian moms.
A lot of my friends, their fathers were married to German women.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a big base in Germany.
Yeah.
And everyone always traveled around, and sometimes you even knew people who knew people.
Yeah. And then I could imagine going from that and then moving out, and there's probably less diversity.
Yes, it was
that was
a lot
probably
less.
a culture shock in itself as well.
It was. I think this is the longest we've talked.
Well, because this song sparks a lot of thought and a lot of memories and a lot of, like I've already said 100 times in this video already. There's a lot of things to think about, a lot of little things to try to analyze, and so I'm so glad that song was picked, even though we've both obviously heard the song. It's almost like a completely new song for you. Let's be real here. So really, technically, this is a first time hearing video for my mom, which doesn't happen a lot because most videos that are first time hearing, it's me hearing the song for the first time. So I kind of love that it's reversed a little bit.
Absolutely, because I've never dissected every word to put it all together and analyze it. It's just picking up Bye Bye Miss American Pie, and immediately you think, okay, it's got something to do with the U.S. And then just little things, the widowed wife. I just assumed it was about the Vietnam War. So, but not analyzing the whole song, the whole lyrics.
Yeah.
Just taking bits and pieces. But I probably was more focused on, oh, it's got a really nice beat.
Exactly. One of those songs that has a danceable beat, but a very deep meaning behind it.
Now I could see. I
Yeah.
could definitely see it.
Sorry.
Or hear it.
Yeah. Well, thank you to everybody who voted for this song. I definitely understand why you voted for it. And so if you're interested, if you haven't joined our Patreon or checked it out, but you're interested in seeing what it's all about, we're kind of changing things up. We're going to add special content just for Patreon, early access stuff. All of our blocked videos go on there. Our music polls are on there. So if you want a little bit of control on what videos we react to, be sure to check it out. And please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye.